Welcome back into another video. In today's video, we're continuing the New Killer Possibilities series. We're going to talk about the most hyped chapter that's anticipated to come into Dead by Daylight. This is the Alien chapter. We're going to go over what it would take for Behavior to bring this chapter into the game, and how likely this is. Welcome back, guys. My name is Schmuckles. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be posting a video very soon about the Resident Evil chapter, so make sure to subscribe to the channel if you want to be notified when I post that video. I also stream on Twitch on Wednesday and Sunday. The link is in the description below. So Alien is a science horror film that was released in 1979. Brandywine Productions produced this film and 20th Century Fox distributed it. The xenomorph species, aka the alien, made its debut in this film and it was groundbreaking. This film was a box office hit, making about $106.3 million in box office revenue. After this movie, 3 more sequels came out. Aliens in 1987, Alien 3 in 1992, and Alien Resurrection in 1997. There's also a prequel series that released after the 4 Alien movies released. Prometheus in 2012 and Alien Covenant in 2017. According to this article from September 2020, the next Alien movie is scheduled to release in October of 2021. Also, an Alien television show is in the works. It's a giant franchise and a lot of people want to see the Alien come into DBD as the Chapter 20 5-year anniversary release for Dead by Daylight. Back in 2019, Matthew Cote talked about the Alien chapter in a Q&A. I found a forum that was pretty much the transcript of the dev Q&A. This forum listed every lore-related question the devs have answered from about 2 years ago. The questions were answered by Ash, Dave, and Matthew Cote. Since you mentioned how the entity isn't bound by space or time in what it can do, does that mean we could see killer and survivor maps that are from the future, taking place on another planet or from a different dimension? To which the devs responded, they're all more or less closely related. The entity seems to build the world and needs people to respond to what they see and the memories that they bring with them, and therefore putting someone in a completely alien place or a place that is not recognizable would not have the same effect. Therefore, you will not likely see an alien map in Dead by Daylight. I think a lot has changed since this interview. As I said before, it was back in 2019. Since then, we've seen the Demogorgon, whose lore describes him as a blooming mouth full of needle-like teeth, and for a face, large, curved, razor-sharp claws, and powerful legs to pounce on victims. This makes the Demogorgon a frightening monster to face in any dimension. Ever since the release of the Demogorgon, which has been the biggest chapter ever to release on Dead by Daylight, Behavior has been open to non-human killers from other dimensions. The lore that came out for the Demogorgon makes the alien a legitimate possibility for a new killer in Dead by Daylight. In other words, since the Demogorgon's in the game, you can make a strong argument that the alien wouldn't be out of place. You could bring in Xenomorph as the killer and Ellen Ripley as the survivor. The map could be a really cool spaceship based on the ones we see in the movies. There's already a lot of cool ideas on what Xenomorph's power and perks could be. However, getting the license to this killer won't be easy. The trademark owner of the Alien franchise is 20th Century Fox. The parent company to 20th Century Fox is Walt Disney Studios. We mentioned Disney in our last video when we talked about Pennywise. Disney, Warner Bros, and Universal are the 3 giants running Hollywood right now, so it's difficult for independent companies to get a hold of these licenses from giant companies. We've seen Behavior reach out to giant companies before. They reached out to Netflix for the Stranger Things chapter.
Stranger Things in Dead by Daylight. Who would have thought? 3 years ago, we released this little, $20 game, and now
I would have never known.
Stranger Things. The fact that we managed to just getting in touch with Netflix, it's not easy, and they wanted to make it happen. It was amazing. So far, all the licenses that we've put into the game have been very
Classic?
old classics.
Yeah.
These things are the building blocks on which so many horror icons were built, actually. And so that's sort of the playground where we were in. And now with the release of Stranger Things, we are in the middle of the current biggest horror thing that there is, arguably. The Demogorgon is our first non-humanish character.
Yeah, he doesn't have a mind like other killers.
And the size was also not normal.
I did some research and looked up how you would get a Disney licensed character, and this is what I found. As far as most businesses are concerned, Disney's going with not. For game developers, Disney says we are not seeking unsolicited requests for licenses. This pretty much means Disney's saying that they have to approach you, and they're not looking for people to ask them for licenses. That's like a hard no from Disney, even if you haven't told them who your company is. So I think it's safe to say that it is really difficult to get a license from Disney. It honestly kind of triggers me that that's a thing. Like, that's just saying no to all creators without even knowing them. Disney also has a sub-company, Disney Interactive, that's specialized in publishing video games. Behavior has released a bunch of Disney games, and 4 of them actually worked with Disney Interactive. So there definitely has been a partnership between Disney Interactive and Behavior in the past. Having already worked with Disney before, this could give Behavior the platform to actually approach Disney for the alien. The alien does appear in a bunch of different video games, and the fact that other developer companies are able to get their hands on the alien license is really good for Behavior. In 2006, Japanese headquartered publisher and developer Sega acquired the license to create new games based on the Alien series of movies from 20th Century Fox licensing and merchandising. Sega is apparently in talks with actors from the movies, including Sigourney Weaver and Lance Henriksen, to lend their likenesses and voice talents to the new game. We haven't finalized anything at this point, but everything is on the table, said Rob Leitner, Vice President of Business Development at Sega. It's important for everyone to understand the difference here. We're taking licensing to the next level with this franchise. Seems to be almost identical to the kind of relationship Behavior has with their killer license holders. It seems like it'd be possible for Behavior to figure out a way to get this license. This game called Alien Isolation is $40 on Steam. It was developed by Creative Assembly and Feral Interactive. The trailer to this game has a lot of similarities that we see to Dead by Daylight New Killers. When I looked up this game on Steam charts, it averages about 245 players in game. Its numbers are nowhere near DBD numbers. Right now, DBD averages about 34.5 thousand players in game. Alien Isolation was released in 2014, and $40 is a lot to ask for a video game. You can probably get it for much less when it goes on sale, but the point is, the license is probably very expensive to acquire and renew, so the price of the game has to be high, especially if the player base is low. Behavior would have to profit from adding a big, expensive chapter to the game like this in order for it to make any sense. In my opinion, they probably would profit because Alien is the most hyped chapter to come into Dead by Daylight. They'd be growing their community and adding more Alien franchise fans into the game. Alien video games have actually come out all the time in the past 5 years. The next Alien game to come out will be in summer of 2021. It's called Aliens Fireteam. This game doesn't really have the same aesthetic as DBD, but it just goes to show that it's very possible for Behavior to acquire this license if there's a high enough demand for it. So why isn't the Alien in Dead by Daylight yet? It's kind of a complex answer. Based on the research I've done, there's no evidence of Behavior ever really taking any efforts to pursue this license. This could be for a number of reasons. It can be really difficult and expensive to get the license from Disney, or Behavior might feel like right now just isn't the best time, and it might be a bit of a challenge to incorporate the Alien into the game. These are all things that Behavior could be talking about behind closed doors. I found an article that talked a little bit about this. The article talks about how the Alien is one of the most frequently requested villains that is incredibly overpowered compared to the rest of Dead by Daylight's killers, but as Kote points out, it wouldn't be impossible to incorporate killers like Alien or Chucky, just an added challenge. I think this chapter is much more likely to come into the game than the Pennywise chapter that we talked about in the last video, and whether they'd actually be able to get this license in secret is another story in and of itself. But that's going to do it for this video. In the next video, we're going to go over the Resident Evil license and whether this chapter is even likely to come to Dead by Daylight. Make sure to be subscribed to the channel if you want to be notified when that comes out. Also, hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.